if you take away half the traffic that comes by my store, I'm probably going to lose about half of my business.
By definition, construction has a start date and a stop date, and you understand that, and you just figure out what the workaround is going to be for a period of time that inconveniences you, and then it's in the past.
The city is wanting to take 19 feet straight across from our property, which in my wife's business, we need all the parking that we can use.
Through those 18 public meetings and Dana's worn out shoes, when we were talking to neighborhoods, there was requests for more infrastructure. So for instance, a couple of things that have come out of these meetings is we were going to do the pedestrian level lighting that's currently in Nob Hill, but we're going to do that for the entire stretch of the construction zone. Wide sidewalks. There's only a few spots, and because of right of way, we're not going to be able to do it. But for the majority of this whole entire section, sidewalks will be at least 6 feet wide, if not wider.
Long gone will be the shading of the medians that nobody's standing in. Instead of the trees being shading the asphalt, they'll be shading people on the sidewalks. We'll actually be able to walk 2 and 3 abreast on the sidewalk instead of having to walk single file.
It will absolutely end the economic viability of Albuquerque, and it will do it within the next 2.5 years.
This is a very significant time for not only Nob Hill but Central Avenue, in that we need something that is transformational. We need something that will change the face of properties like this, the Dianza, into something that are supporting the economy and moving us forward. And fortunately, this is one of those beautiful spots that's going to be reborn. This summer, they're going to start the construction of a new Dianza, and we expect a lot of that. There's innumerable places just in East Nob Hill that have empty lots or properties that are underutilized that could find the right developer now, thanks to the ART. So we're really excited for a rebirth and future of the Route 66 corridor through New Mexico, and especially on Central Avenue in Albuquerque.
I'm Tanya Armenta, the President and CEO of Visit Albuquerque. We're excited about the art project for what it offers visitors and convention delegates. When they're in town, this project gives us the chance to connect some of Albuquerque's greatest assets, whether that be downtown, Old Town, Nob Hill, Uptown. When people are visiting, we can say to them, here's an opportunity to get on public transit and make your way across some of our greatest entertainment neighborhoods, entertainment venues and neighborhoods, a real tremendous opportunity to be competitive. And tourism is a competitive industry. Bringing people here, having really great experiences. It's beneficial to Albuquerque. It's a $2 billion industry for Albuquerque. And so in addition, I would encourage people to think about what this offers, not only for locals, but what it offers for our visiting public as well, whether they be visitors, convention delegates, people here for a sporting event. This is a tremendous opportunity to really showcase Albuquerque and some of our best entertainment venues.
Help me out here, because if I'm trying to go back into the memory banks from when I last really looked at this, but you basically carve out a bus lane only in the middle of Central, right? And then there's raised platforms.
Dedicated lane, roll on, roll off for wheelchairs, bikes, whatever. Yeah. Think about the last time you were in an airport. The doors open, people get off, people get on, doors close, you zip on your way. Every 7 minutes. And there's pre-ticketing, a signal right-of-way, so the lights are green for them, and a dedicated lane. So that's why it's much better than a bus, and you don't have it pulling over to the side and waiting for people to fumble for their change and then get back out into traffic. This thing literally just zips from place to place. 7 minutes, every 7 minutes up and down Central.
And it's a public safety project because emergency vehicles can also use that dedicated lane. So fire trucks, police cars, ambulance can get to where they need to be faster.
If we change the path of Route 66 through Albuquerque, are we impacting it negatively? I think quite the contrary. I think what we're doing then is we're creating a unique aspect of the Route 66, the evolutionary part of Route 66. In fact, a destination. Route 66 that's really been changed and updated. The buildings are still there, the culture is still there, but now it's more accessible. You know, people driving through Route 66, they start at one end, drive through it, and say, I saw it, maybe stop and take a photograph or two. Now they have the opportunity with art to stop at one end, get out, take the bus, and dot along the various diverse opportunities that would exist. In other words, spend the day. It becomes a destination. So maybe rather than driving through Albuquerque and say, I went through Route 66 in Albuquerque, I stopped and I enjoyed, and this is what I found. And they can talk, they can blog, they can do whatever, but it becomes, I think, an opportunity for Albuquerque to differentiate itself. Phoenix doesn't have that Route 66 that we could create. The other major metropolitan areas that we might compete with from a tourism standpoint won't have that opportunity that we can create. So I see it part of a vision, a growth, and a differentiator for our community.
We obviously want the city to grow. We realize that our population isn't growing. We know the city is trying to help, but we think that the consultants might not have, really studied Albuquerque enough to see that what works in some other cities, that we don't think it'll work here. And we don't think it'll work here because we're way ahead of ourselves. Now, I know that the people in the city and the transportation department say, well, you've got to build it so that the people will come. We say, let's accommodate the people and then provide them the system to transport them. That we now have a good bus system, and if we get the high-rise apartments or condominiums and increase the density of Central, then if the need is there, then that would be the time to get the bus in. And the federal government, I know, is funding most of this, or 69 million of it, but we just think that it's not being designed in a good design, and that the cost of the loss of vehicular traffic is going to outweigh the benefit of the Rapid as they're designed it today.
We want to create a pedestrian-friendly city because you're going to have a much higher chance of getting a new client for your restaurant or your store, somebody who's walking by, not driving by at 35 miles an hour.
The biggest objection that most people have to the design of the Albuquerque system is that they have greatly reduced the left turn lanes. They have put stations that will block the ability of people to go from an existing street to the other side of the street across Central. They will be reducing significantly the number of signaled intersections where there are actually traffic signals, so that the cars or the people can get across Central.
So, and one of the things that I love when people complain about the left-hand turn lane being gone is it just takes a little thinking. It's not hard. It's I can't turn here, but guess what? 5 blocks from now I can. And if you're like me, where you use GPS to get a lot of places, it'll tell you where to go. It'll tell you where to turn. And I have never in my entire life not gone to my favorite hairdresser, not gone to my favorite restaurant, not gone to my favorite store because I couldn't turn left.
My name is Sarah, and I think an art system in Albuquerque would be fabulous. I think it would help tourists come to the area if we had a system where there was a bus that went up and down Central. I think people would want to come to the businesses more. They'd want to party a little bit more, maybe go home on the system. They'd be able to go shopping if they don't have other means to get here. And I think out-of-town people would really appreciate the ability to get around in our very nice city without a vehicle.
I would say art's definitely, it's fascinating, For art, art's been around for centuries, and it's a way of people being able to communicate themselves and put their expressive thoughts on paint, or paint, canvases, whatever. So art's definitely important, and there's a lot of very interesting things that someone can display that's just going on in their mind.